Hello, this is Surya Silva, welcoming you back to Life Beyond Limits for Women. This is Module 5 and Lesson 1. In this module, we'll bring together many aspects of the program. We'll look at what it takes to live a great life, an inspired life connected to your wisdom. We're going to look at stepping into your own brilliance and living your life beyond the limits as a woman of this time. I'd like to begin with this quote from Mary Oliver. How would you answer this question? Tell me what it is you plan to do with your one wild and precious life. The quote sums up so much of what we've been talking about. How would you answer that for yourself? Now here's some really important information for you, and it's the single most important thing for you to know in life. It's this. Life is about the state that you are in, the state of your body, your mind, and your spirit, and the connection between the three of them. That's a phrase that you can use. Life is about the state that you're in. It comes from neuro-linguistic programming. That's where I learned it. It's a really powerful message to yourself. Life is about the state that I am in. Life is about how much energy you have, and that energy depends on the connection between your body, mind, and spirit. Learning to manage your state of mind is crucial to your health, your happiness, and your success, because it all flows together in a spiral. Learning to honor and nurture your body and spirit is equally essential. We talked about this through the program. Learning to play your conscious and subconscious minds becomes a priority. The reason I say that is because you have the intellectual information and knowledge in your conscious mind, yet all the old programming sits in the subconscious mind. To move beyond the limits, as we've been discussing, is to retrain your subconscious mind to align with your desires. That creates the combination of the state of your life, a life beyond those limits that you've experienced until now. Here's a really great tip to support you in this endeavor. Create an unbroken intention for what you're wanting to achieve in your life. Your intention is your goal or your desire. Create crystal clear clarity as an unstoppable woman. Set that intention. Obviously, you will write it down and use all the tools that we've discussed in previous lessons. As an example, I had an intention to put my programs online. Being a middle-aged woman who wasn't very technologically savvy when I began, I've had to face many challenges. The stories that came out of my subconscious mind were ferocious. Had I believed them for more than a moment or sometimes two, I would never have kept going. I had to reaffirm to myself that just because I didn't grow up with all of the technology didn't mean that I couldn't learn it. That intention became my anchor, for without it, I may well have given up long ago. I invite you to create your intention for your life beyond limits. Hold it strongly in your consciousness. Hold it until you achieve the desire. It may take a little time. You're pulling in the possibilities and probabilities of your life. Hold it strongly. The next tool that I'd like to offer you is about developing intuition as your guide in life. You may already use your intuition quite well, and if that's the case, that's marvelous. Keep going. If you don't have access to your intuition, make this a priority, because the infinite wisdom and intelligence is available to you at all times. It will come in many different forms. One of the forms is through your intuition. You might have heard this infinite wisdom or source energy called your inner silent partner or your higher consciousness. You might know her as the divine feminine or your soul. Whatever language you use, totally embrace this source energy that will come through your intuition. Embrace it. Use it as a gift and a guide to go beyond the rational mind and personality. Intuition often comes as a knowing from inside. This comes from your inner guidance and higher consciousness. To be clear here, this is not the old mind chatter and negative things saying to yourself. It's not that part of your personality mind. This is your inner guidance beyond all the mind chatter. It comes from deep within you. And when you step back from the emotions of whatever is happening, you can view the situation from a different perspective. This gives you even more guidance. Your intuition may come as a hunch, or you might have a gut feeling about something. Perhaps somebody invites you to do something or go somewhere, and you have a gut feeling that goes, yes, that's good for me, or I don't think so. You might be thinking of someone and they call you. You might have prior knowledge, or perhaps it will come as a spark of insight. Sometimes a creative symbol appears. It might appear in your dreams or when you're writing or doodling, or you'll see something in nature and there'll be a symbol for you. This type of insight creates a level of certainty and knowing of what is true for you in that moment. It's beyond your rational mind because the knowing comes from inside of you. It's very beautiful and it's the most delightful way to live. Now, of course, if you spend lots of time using media devices, you might have to be willing to create some space away from your devices so that you can learn to recognize the messages. Sometimes we want those messages to have a particular content. Accept that your guidance might be very different from what your rational mind thinks it should be or wants it to be. If that happens, which one are you going to follow? The rational mind or your inner silent partner? Forget the rational mind. Go with the source energy and bask in the joy of her guidance. Your life will unfold into a very different experience when you allow your intuition to guide you. It's not difficult. It is another shift. It's about you moving into the bigger part of yourself now, to live with the joy and passion of deep connection with your intuition. In the past, the social programming has often been to name intuition and inner guidance as fantasy or daydreaming. Some women have needed to conform in order to survive, whether that's in your family, your job, or something in your community. Perhaps fear might have been in the way, or perhaps you had a message about something and you were unable to listen and found yourself in an unhappy situation that could have been avoided. Sometimes the body will give you a warning, or the yearning happens and you're unable to hear her call. Sometimes we learn to mask our wisdom and doubt what we know. In a cultural context, there's no doubt that many women have experienced the limitations of the hierarchy of our society. Depending on where you live and your particular environment, there may have been many limitations placed on you. There's a social construct that has rules about women and how we're meant to live. In response, some women have had to settle for being less than who they are because they didn't know anything else. They didn't know that there were other choices, that they could break free from many of those limitations. The interesting thing, though, is that at some point, no matter what the limitations, a yearning in the heart will often open. A search begins. It doesn't matter how old you are. Something shifts inside of you, and it's a search to find your soul's voice. You want to connect, and something tells you that you're capable of more. You know that you're willing to do whatever it takes and find your way home to your true self. That's why you're here in this program. I'll leave you with that now to reflect on what we've covered in this lesson, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye for now.